everyone. I'm Leah with Wealth KC, and today we have Sean and Will talking about 5 common worries that retirees or those that are close to retirement have. So the first one we're going to take a look at is, how do I know if my retirement savings will last the rest of my life?
Yeah, this is a very common question and concern we get. One of the things we look at, and the idea behind this visual here is to first determine how much of your retirement income is already in place, whether that's through Social Security or pensions or some sort of systematic income stream, can take some of the pressure off of the rest of your portfolio or nest egg to produce retirement income for you. So one of the biggest factors is determining how much of your income is guaranteed. Something around a quarter to a third of your income being fixed and guaranteed from some other vehicle like Social Security or pensions is a really good head start. I don't know, Will, do you have other things you'd recommend on top of that?
Yeah, my biggest advice is, planning, right? Create a plan for exactly how much you're going to need to withdraw, how much you need to service your basic necessities, things like your mortgage payment potentially, or rent payment in retirement, or, do you have money for groceries and everyday essentials lined up? And then, kind of determine, hey, how much will I potentially need to withdraw off this portfolio? Work with professionals such as ourselves to determine what a safe withdrawal rate is. And then, really create a good team atmosphere around you that helps you stick to a plan. Well, first create a plan, then stick to that plan throughout retirement and kind of hold you accountable to not make giant purchases or big withdrawals in retirement, especially in the beginning.
And just to add to this graphic, would you guys kind of want to explain what this is, what you talk with individuals or clients about in regards to delaying Social Security?
Yeah, so this is just an illustration of how Social Security is reduced or increased based on when you start receiving your Social Security benefits. So, there's a lot of misconceptions around this, but traditionally everyone has a full retirement age. So, it's 66 and 6 months for a lot of people. It's now moved to 67 for a lot of people. We expect that to probably keep going up. But in this example, your full retirement age is 67. Doesn't mean you have to wait to 67 to take it or wait to 67 to retire. It just means to get what the Social Security believes should be your full benefit, you'd have to continue to work and draw at 67. If you retire early and draw earlier, your benefit is simply reduced by how many years you took it early and stopped working. Traditionally, it's about 6.25% reduction for every year you take it early. On the flip side, if you work longer or retire but just don't draw your Social Security, you get an increase to your benefit of around 8% for every year you delay Social Security after age 67. Will can speak more to this, but we find often, not every case, but often delaying Social Security increases the probability of success in retirement.
Yes, and this is just simply for the fact of, how long do you want to supplement your withdrawals and by how much? So if you think about it, in other words, you retire at age 62, but you don't start Social Security right away, you're funding your retirement through larger withdrawals from your nest egg. Now, this is okay because those larger withdrawals are only going to last from age 62 to, let's say, age 70 in this case. From age 70 to the rest of your life, right, call that age 90, age 95, your retirement withdrawals are now drastically reduced. So that larger time horizon where withdrawals are reduced from your portfolio usually results in a higher probability of success that your money is going to last, all the way through your entire life.
Back to that first example I gave is how much of your retirement income is fixed or guaranteed, right? In Will's example, if you take it at 62, you might only be 25%. If you take it at full retirement age, you might be 35%. But if you push this all the way out to 70, in a lot of cases, we will see where almost half or 50% of the money those retirees need is coming from a fixed and guaranteed resource with automatic cost of living adjustments to it. So there's incredible value in delaying Social Security if it can fit inside your plan.
And then another question, how do they ensure that their retirement savings will keep up with inflation?
Great question. This is more on the investment side, I think, is the best way to approach that. When you step into retirement, really when you're nearing retirement, we're starting to reduce the overall risk of the portfolio, which traditionally means reducing our exposure to equities or stocks. The challenge is you can't abandon them altogether, right? There is a reason why stocks, earn more than bonds. It's because they are lower on the cap table of a standard company for if that company was to go bankrupt, when and how do I get my money? The more risk you take, the more return you're going to get. So we have to reduce that, but we cannot abandon it. We need a portion of your portfolio still reaching for 8+% rate of return. Not all of it, a specific portion, but you have to have, we show this in another slide, but buckets of your money, and one of them is designed to increase over time with the market to keep pace with inflation.
And then the next question, when it comes to retirement, how should individuals be planning for taxes? They've been understanding their taxes while they've been working, and then how do they transition into planning for taxes in retirement?
So the first step in planning for taxes in retirement is going to be understanding the type of investment accounts that you have. So there's traditionally three buckets: a taxable bucket, a traditional bucket, and a Roth bucket. So each of those have different taxability associated with them while you're contributing to them and investing the money inside them, as well as different attributes when you go to withdraw the money. Ideally, you want to marry those all three in a way that results in you paying the least amount of taxes throughout your working years as well as into your retirement. So this is something that our planning team spends a ton of time analyzing for you guys, and it's a very, very important part of your retirement plan. But essentially, right, you're going to want to plan your retirement in a way that you pay, very, very low taxes while you're first retired, typically withdrawing from your taxable accounts, while on the same token doing some sorts of Roth conversions with your traditional accounts to build up a Roth balance as well. But this is very, very, very plan specific. It takes into account your income coming in, as well as, like I said, the different account types that you have and the balances within each of those. But this is where we believe we can make a massive difference in your overall retirement plan by just, winning the tax game, we like to call it.
Yeah, I agree. I would add on to that, first, consistent planning, kind of as Will said earlier, like, don't just build a plan, ignore your reviews for a couple of years, then come in. No, stay in it. Stay consistently planning, meeting with your advising team, stay in and active with your plan. And then second, I'm going to plug my guy Will here. Get yourself a Will. Will's job is to be here every single day doing financial planning, tackling these important topics. We have an end of year checklist where, I don't know, Will, roughly a third of it is probably tax centered. It's 18 to 20, steps long that we perform for every household on preparing for the end of the year. And the vast majority of them are tax focused items that Will's spearheading for us. So it's hard to do on your own. We obviously, we're an investment or a wealth management firm. We're recommending you get professional advice, but there's reason behind that. It's very difficult. It's very nuanced. There's a lot of rules and regulations to it. So stay active in your plan and get a Will on your team.
And to speak towards just the complexity of it, a big way to manage your taxes in retirement is just to stay on top of the tax code, which is always changing and always getting updated depending on, the election and things like that. So it's very important to, if you don't have the time, if you don't want to understand the tax code and all of its implications, definitely partner with a team like us that has the resources to be able to stay on top of the constantly changing tax environment and make sure you're making the right decisions each and every year.
And I think one of the most concerning things for those that are getting close to retirement is handling market volatility. How do you guys suggest, or how do you work with clients and help them handle market volatility in retirement?
Yeah, I think this is something, tooting our own horn a little bit, that we excel at. I think it takes a lot of time, but step one is, you got to create the plan, and then once you have it, is looking at the specifics of the plan and looking out 5+ years in the amount of income that you need. Here's an example. We build tailored and specific 5-year income plans for each and every one of our clients that are either in retirement or nearing retirement. How much money do we estimate they're going to withdraw from their portfolio over the next 5 years? And then we outline specific investments at specific dollar amounts that they need for each of those years. Traditionally, these investments can be cash, CDs, short-term bonds, or structured notes, items that have either zero or minimal downside, but still can earn a reasonable upside rate of return. The goal behind that is, underneath 5 years, the market's a lot less predictable. Over 5 years, historically speaking, the S&P 500, or what most people refer to as the market, is higher 89% of the time, right? So if we protect the first 5 years and grow on 5 years after that, right, we have a 89% chance, based on history, that middle and last bucket is going to be growing over time, and that we're not going to have to sell stocks when they go down, because we'll utilize our 5-year income plan bucket in those moments of time. So it's about having a specific and tailored investment strategy that aligns to your financial plan. We see all the time people who come in with investments, right, but no plan, right? They have an investment portfolio where they're doing retirement income planning based on interest and dividends and withdrawals. It's very unorganized. It's not systematic. The investment strategy has to align to the financial plan. I think we do that really, really well, but we'd encourage everyone to ensure that they're getting that complementary investment and financial plan.
Yep. That's really, really well said, Sean. I agree with it all. And it definitely speaks to the importance of, knowing exactly, or at least approximately, right, how much you're going to need to spend in retirement, and what that kind of number is for you that you're expecting to spend each year. And then, sticking to that plan as well, definitely in the events of extreme volatility to the downside.
And then you both kind of spoke on this with that last slide, but kind of to expand on that, how does someone navigate anxiety around spending what they've saved?
I don't know the specifics here. I'll throw a percentage. I would say, at least 50% of that stress and anxiety would be gone if you had a specific and detailed financial plan and an investment strategy that aligns to that. I really believe that. I see it with my own eyes. I see prospective clients come in with that fear and anxiety, and after working with us for a couple of years, you see that start to fade, right? And it's not because we're magical. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because we've helped them, educate, inform, and build these plans so that they have a strategy. They know how it's going to work. They know the risk involved. So I would say 50% of that can be solved with building plans and meeting with your team regularly. And the other 50%, maybe we'll have something to add, but I would just say you can't, right? That's just part of life, is being stressed and anxious, right? When you turn off that income bucket or income spigot, and you have to turn on the distributions, it is stressful. It is anxious. There's a lot going on in the world and the economy and what we're seeing in the news to make you think it won't work for you. So yeah, I would say some of it can be handled, but some of it is just, part of, dealing with what it means to be retired and turn off the income. It's some of it's just unavoidable.
Yeah. And I will say, definitely in the first couple of years, it can be stressful. But like Sean was saying, if you know exactly, right, we have this income set aside for these years in our 5-year income plan, that can mitigate a lot of that stress, as well as just knowing that, you have a professional on your team that is telling you, this withdrawal rate has traditionally held up over the course of a 30, 40-year retirement. Being able to put your trust in someone who understands the data and can help you kind of navigate those stressors definitely takes a lot of stress off of your plate. And as you kind of get through the first couple years of retirement, you'll kind of fall into a rhythm again of, okay, this is how things are going to work. And the stress can kind of melt away at that point in time a little bit as well.
Yeah, the last thing I would add to that is avoid any self-inflicting anxiety that you've created upon yourself. If you have a plan, stick to it. Don't deviate from that plan because you want a new car or you're getting tired of your house or whatever. Unfortunately, we see that far too often, is that we get into retirement with a specific plan, and then all of a sudden we're deviating from that plan on a regular and consistent basis to the tune of withdrawals that are far in excess of the original plan. That would be self-inflicting, stress and anxiety, because it's hard to get everything that you want, but keep a balanced plan. And so make sure that you stick to the plan you created when you set foot in retirement in the first place.
Very good. Well, that's it. I appreciate you guys answering those questions. If anybody is watching and has questions, feel free to comment on this video or send us an email at leah@wealthkc.com.